They say Pine Hollow is quiet, but not empty. And if something's on your plate, you'd better finish it. I moved to Pine Hollow after my mother died. I needed stillness, quiet. My grandmother's house stood just beyond the tree line, slumped porch, white shutters washed pale by time. The air smelled of thyme, rain, and something always slow cooking. For a while, I thought that might be enough. That first night we had meatloaf, mashed potatoes, buttered peas. I barely touched it. Grief turns meals into obligations. Grandma didn't press. She wrapped the plate in a wax paper, folding it gently, like she was tucking in a child. Then came her voice, low, careful. "In Pine Hollow, you never waste a meal." Ever, I thought it was a saying, left over from ration books and hard winters. But something in her tone stayed with me. At the diner, people scraped their plates clean. Kids licked sauce off fingers. Even burnt toast was bitten to the crust. There was a rhythm to it. A ritual. Outside the market, a chalkboard leaned near a bin of apples. The words in fading white, "Leave no bite behind, stay full, stay safe." I snapped a photo, messaged a friend. Pine Hollow's got leftover laws. It wasn't about food, not really. Later that week, we had lasagna. It clung to the fork in thick threads. The cheese fogged my glasses. Halfway through, I felt full, or maybe just hollow. When Grandma went upstairs, I folded the rest in a napkin and tossed it behind the shed. It felt harmless, almost forgettable. The next morning it was back. Same lasagna, same burned edge, still warm, waiting at the centre of the table like it had never left. Grandma stared at the plate, then at me. "If it comes back once," she said, "you eat it, or it'll eat something else." I gave her a smile, called it dramatic. But that night, something tapped my window. Once, twice, then again. Not rushed, not angry, just certain. I stayed still beneath the covers, every muscle coiled tight. In the morning it wasn't a dream. The plate was on my desk, still steaming. Same bite gone, same fork. Beside it, a folded napkin, written in red ink. "Waste your meal, forget your grace, hunger walks with an unseen face." This time I took it deep into the woods. Beyond the stones split down the centre, past the bend where the trees leaned too close. I buried it beneath wet leaves. The house changed. Air thickened with the smell of sour meat. The fridge whined unevenly. Milk spoiled unopened. Fruit shriveled in hours. Mould bloomed mid-slice. Then I found a new loaf on the counter, still sealed. Except one slice was gone, teeth marks along the edge. That night I asked Grandma, "Has this ever happened to you?" She didn't meet my eyes. Her spoon hovered mid-stir. After a long pause, she said, "Once." At school, I told Eli. He always sat by the window, lunches packed tight in foil, never traded, never opened until the last bell. Rumours swirled around him that he lived alone with his uncle since the funeral, that something went wrong that winter break. When I told him about the plate, he just nodded. "My cousin left nuggets," he murmured. "Said they were cold." His voice was thin. They came back. Same smears, same count. On his pillow he looked up, eyes shadowed. "I didn't warn him, didn't know how, so now I just tell people when I can." Then he whispered, "1 bite, 2 bites, 3's too late. Finish it all or seal your fate." That night the house smelled like stew, savoury, heavy, like marrow and garlic, stewed down into something ancient. A plate waited at the foot of my bed, steam curling upward like breath in winter. My name was carved into the ceramic, not written, carved. Then I heard it, a dragging sound, slow, wet, like something pulling its weight across old wood. It didn't knock, it arrived. A silhouette of scraps and stitching, arms too thin, fingers like chicken bones. Its skin was boiled meat, bound by pasta strands, and its face wasn't, just a soft mass, closed, steaming, listening, but still it spoke. Last chance. The words didn't echo. They sank through the walls and into my chest. I couldn't move, not from fear, but from something deeper. Like the house itself held me still. It sat beside me, lifted the spoon, waited. The stew was cold now, metallic, sludgy, like rust and oil. I forced it down, and just like that, it rose and vanished. The next morning, Grandma made toast. No smile, no question, just set the plate in front of me. I ate every crumb. Only then did she say, "You've been fed. Now it won't need anyone else, not for a while." I clean my plate now, even when it turns my stomach, even when I'm not sure it came from our kitchen. Last week a tourist checked into the guest house across the lane. I saw him toss half a sandwich behind the gas station, laughed to himself, said he was done. That night I heard movement on the guest house porch, a slow drag, something sure of its path, then a scream, cut short. Silence. I stayed in bed. In Pine Hollow, hunger waits with an empty plate, and it always remembers who left theirs behind.